Hamamatsu, Japan, an industrial city 150 miles southwest of Tokyo, home to the Suzuki Motor Corporation, a company with over 100 years of manufacturing history. By the early 80s, the engineers at Suzuki had been producing motorcycles for 30 years. The company's ethos of passion and enthusiasm meant many of the company's motorcycle designers not only rode, but raced bikes themselves. And their experiences racing on the track provided critical feedback in the unrelenting process of constantly redesigning and re-engineering Suzuki's next motorcycle. And in the mid-80s, the ceaseless effort of Suzuki's R&D team would culminate in the birth of a bike that would change the history of motorcycling forever. This is Gsx-R, 30 years of performance. "30 years ago, Suzuki introduced the Gsx-R 750, a true race replica machine that single-handedly created a whole new category of performance sports bikes. And interestingly enough, some of the designers and engineers who helped bring that first Gsx-R to life can still be found on the Suzuki campus in Hamamatsu today."
清水立氏と言います。会社入って40年ですね。もう長いね。
At that time, Shimizu worked in the engine design department under the guidance of a project leader named Etsuo Yokouchi. A racer himself, Yokouchi began early development of the bike that would become the first Gsx-R by challenging everything that the team knew about building a motorcycle meant for racing and starting the design process from scratch.
特にこの幽霊の7班はね、今回来るような話もあった横内さん、その当時の横内部長が最大馬力100馬力で最高速235キロだったかな。
He challenged the engine and chassis teams to question the status quo. Once the horsepower and speed goals were set, the team knew that weight reduction would be a significant part of the design. Yokouchi had his engineers completely disassemble a 1983 Gsx 750E and mark each engine or chassis part either red or blue. Red was for parts that wore quickly or failed, and blue parts had no breakage or durability issues. When the process was complete, most all of the parts had been marked blue, a sign that they were building their bikes to be durable, yet too heavy. Their approach was too conservative. All that was about to change.
E4 で先行実験を随分やってたんですよ。実はGSX-700 っていうのがあって、当時アメリカでね700以上の車の関税をものすごく上げた時があって、それでショートストロークの7班を作ったので、それのボアを広げて、当時としてはショートストロークの7班ができたので、それで先行実験やってて、でエアクリーナーマフラー付きで97馬力までは出してました、立さんが。だけどそこまで出すとスパークプラグのネジのところにアルミが癒着して出てきちゃったり、シリンダーのスリーブがズルズルになっちゃったり、あとバルブが歪んじゃったりいろいろあった、もうだけどもう馬力は出せるけど市販車として出すのは難しいなっていうふうに。
One of the main problems the engine team was facing was heat dissipation. Water cooling was not a viable option at the time due to added weight. So Yokouchi and engine group leader Tetsunobu Fujii came up with a new approach, an engine that had enhanced air cooling and an oil-cooled system. Every part of the new engine was also scrutinized for weight savings. And not only did they achieve weight savings, the engine was also durable. the engineers tested and ran the engine at redline for more than 24 hours with no breakage issues whatsoever. By reducing the number of components and welds required for the frame, they were able to get the frame weight down to just over 17.5 pounds, less than half the weight of the Gsx-R's predecessor. In late 1984, the Gsx-R was finally ready to be unveiled to the world at the Cologne show. When the cover was pulled off of the Gsx-R 750, everything about the bike from its specs to its appearance electrified the motorcycle industry. This was a radically light, race-ready motorcycle, and something the general public did not expect from Suzuki, who was known at the time to be careful and conservative. The Gsx-R 750 achieved a 1-2 finish in its World Endurance Championship debut race, the Le Mans 24-hour. And when the bikes began to reach the general public and began rolling out on the road and tracks worldwide, it did not take long for Gsx-R's popularity to take off.
さっき言ったね、さっきが少し言ったように私サイクルワールドのテストでテキサスで24時間耐久行ったんですよ。でその時に750での最高記録を作ったよっていうことになって。
During the late 80s and 90s, the Gsx-R became known worldwide as a sport bike leader in racing, and development of the Gsx-R models continued as new performance standards were sought after. The teams working behind the scenes on the bike had intimate and up-close feedback about improvements, because they were some of the people pushing the bike to its limits firsthand.
ですからこの3人ずっと一緒に実験とか、あと社内クラブのチームタイタンっていう方だったもんで、うちがコアサイクルのエンジンやりだしたから耐久レースでなきゃいかんじゃないのっていうのがやっぱりレースチームの人から話があって、それで今度耐久レースあるから出ようってことで。
例えばホンダとかヤマハとか川崎みんな社内レーシングチームっていうかね、社員がやってたレーシングチームがあって、やっぱり鈴鹿の耐久なんかだとワークスが出てる中でその後社内のチームが出てた。でどこもそうは言ったって社内なので、どこがワークスでどこがチームだかわかんない、ライダーが違うだけのような車になってるんですけど、そういう中で、自分らでエンジン作って車作ってでレース出てたと。
Even to this day, the engineers who made up Team Titan are proud to recall some of their top finishes, and are quick to note that even amongst all the other professional and company teams, they frequently finished well and never fell below 10th place in the rankings. Not bad for a group of full-time engineers and designers.
今自分も86年モデルに未だに乗ってます。でまた開発したっていうところでこれ何かあった時にどこをいじればいいかってそれなりに分かって未だにもう29年ですかね経ちますけど。
In the late 80s and throughout the mid-90s, Suzuki continued the development of the Gsx-R, and every new model of the Gsx-R was designed with new technology and improvements learned on racetracks from around the world. In 1996, a decade after the first Gsx-R had lit the industry on fire, Suzuki reinvented the bike with a newly equipped twin-spar frame. Taking inspiration from their GP bike, the new Gsx-R featured a shortened wheelbase with smooth drivability, all weighing in at under 400 pounds.
それで85、6年頃に、レースグループにいる時もなんとかこの横を通したツインスパーのフレーム作れないかって何度か話出てきたんですけども、どうしてもエンジンがバカ広くてですね、ちょっと作れなくて、いかせぬ形でずっとやってました。で、96年の7年の時で初めてもう設備を起こしてそれピッチを狭めるって話になりまして、で同期で同郷の西川さんという人がいる その人のエンジンベアベットは確かに車体ベアベットですけども、しょっちゅう変えてですね、もっとエンジン小さくしてくださいってお願いしてですね、でフレームもすごくなるようになってですね。
And that is the story of how the Gsx-R was born. From the Suzuki campus in Hamamatsu, a small Japanese coastal village, to garages and paddocks all over the world. That was the tale of where and how the bike began. Next time we'll look at how it has evolved today, its right place in motorcycling history, and, most importantly, what lies ahead in its historic lineage.